am Shao. Come, accompany me on my journey to crush all and dominate the stolen lands. Our first foray into the wilderness took us to Oleg's trading post. The bandits have been harassing him for tax. As they say, follow the money. We arrived just in the middle of a shakedown. I took the money, of course, under protective custody. Then they ran away with tails between their legs. Oleg warned us that they would be back, so we were prepared for them. Well, at least he was. Then we retired for the night. Except I couldn't. I was tortured by premonitions. I have no nightmares, but the fog must have a meaning. Then there was something else that decided I am not allowed to sleep that night.
Hear me. Please hear me.
It is my policy not to trust any apparitions that make themselves known after a nightmare. I mean, after a premonition.
Who am I? Just a tear shed by the land itself. The bitter sigh of nature. I am a nymph, the guardian of this area. A defeated guardian. Call me the guardian of the bloom, if you wish.
I quickly realized my mistake. I asked the wrong question. What do you want from me?
Aid. Salvation. We have a common enemy, and long have I searched for someone who can defeat him. The one you call the Stag Lord. As a storm strikes ruthlessly with gusts and lightning, the Stag Lord wreaks havoc with the swords of his servants. And not just in the world of people. The land also suffers from the evil he brings. My forests and my flowers suffocate in this fog. Soon even I will vanish, as the last ray of light fades at dusk.
She's the verbose type, I see. At least she doesn't rhyme. Is the Stag Lord the one responsible for the fog? I asked, trying to pull something useful out of her.
Yes. It hides his fortress as well as his dark deeds. But while responsible, he did not create this affliction. It is the work of a powerful druid who has betrayed even himself. I know not why the powers did not leave this renegade, but even I was unable to defeat him.
It seems she's intent on talking without saying anything. I had enough of you. Be gone!
No, please. This fog melts my power like snow under the bright rays of the sun in spring. I know not if I will have the strength to call to you again. We have a common enemy. Help me, and I can help you.
Alright, you have 1 minute.
This fog, it enshrouds, entangles, suffocates. If only I could learn how it was created. But my powers wane. I have barely the strength to call out to you. All I know for certain is that somewhere in this forest lies an old house, and it echoes with the remnants of a strange power. The Stag Lord and his druid were there. The fog hides this place from me, but I can point you to the bandits' camp near the Thornford. Make them tell you where this place is. Go there and listen to the echo, catch the whispers, search for anything that can tell you how the fog was created. Once the fog clears, nature will breathe again, and you will be able to easily find your way to the fortress of our mutual enemy.
Would you look at that? She was within 1 minute. Alright, I understand. Farewell.
I don't believe in fate, stranger. But our meeting seems more than a coincidence.
Luckily, she left after that. It would have been awkward having to leave my room after I said farewell. We spent the next day getting to Thornford, trying to find the aforementioned camp. It could take weeks until the bandits attack Oleg again, leaving me quite short on people to interrogate. But as fortune would have it, or some other sinister force, the bandits were right there. One of them tried to take the high road with me, claiming that they have as much right to these lands as anyone else. They are absolutely correct. Unfortunately, that also includes me. The camp had two interesting things: a priest with useful healing powers, and the dignity to know when to honor a rescue. The second was a set of written orders about destroying an abandoned house, in the middle of nothing. I set out to investigate, but the road is long and treacherous. We have been waylaid by what look to be slavers, at least according to their demands. Suffice to say, this was unacceptable. They cannot just grab whoever they please and make them slaves. Only I get to do that once I am Baron. It wasn't an easy fight, and one of their numbers got away. I elected to nip this in the bud. It's not far out of the way after all. We managed to track them down soon enough, and now we were the ones ambushing. Freeing the slaves put the numbers in our favor and won easily. Their leader decided to take the groveling tactic, but unfortunately she also revealed that regardless of her being alive or dead, her master will hunt us down. More interestingly, two of the slaves distinguished themselves during the fight, and one of them called for her death. I made a quick decision. Offer them a place at Oleg's, while I'll finish my mission out here in the woods. Being freshly escaped slaves with nowhere to go, there is a 50-50 chance that they will jump at the opportunity, or flee as fast as they can. If it is the former, they could be of use. If it is the latter, then at least they are out of my hair, and maybe take the slavers with them. When we arrived to the abandoned hut, the nymph was already there, making me question if chasing the bandits was really necessary. Through apparitions, I have witnessed much there. Fear, abusal, hate. The apprentice overthrowing the master. Made me quite nostalgic for my own childhood. I wonder how my father is doing. Probably died in the tomb that I have locked him in. The Guardian was awaiting for me after the visions. Only I could see her, and my companions were less than impressed at me talking to thin air. Irrelevant. If I cared for their opinions, I wouldn't be the one leading. I asked her about the visions. She was probably the one who shown me them. Might as well go along to see what she's playing at.
Yes. The soil, water, and stones here are infused with toxic pain and fear. They poison this place as we speak. You have seen where your enemy's journey began. The one called Stag Lord was once the victim of a cruel madman, and has since become one himself. You see now how monsters are born. But what comes of regret for a thing you cannot change? There is no time to be lost. We must do away with the fog quickly.
She seems agitated to continue. If I ask her questions now, she might answer them in hopes that I will keep doing as she says. While we are here, tell me, what is your story?
Do you really wish to know? Fine. I'll tell you a fairy tale. Once upon a time there lived a young nymph. She lived in an enchanted forest, where 1,000 birds sung day and night, where the sun often left a spark or two hanging in the tree crowns, and where the starlight fell on sleepy glades like a glowing soft haze. The young nymph loved simple things, like sitting by the stream with her friends, braiding each other's hair and adorning their braids with crystals made of dew, or watching the flowers blooming. But inside her soul, the young nymph dreamed of something more. Oh, dreams. Nothing in any world can live without them. Even a seed that falls in fertile soil cannot sprout without the dream of the sun. The same was true for our nymph. She wished to turn her enchanted forest into a true fairy tale kingdom and fill it with thousands of wonders. Plans so ambitious rarely go unnoticed by greater powers. Those greater powers decided to punish the nymph for her boldness. They sent a horrible monster to poison the enchanted forest and kill the singing birds. The nymph was forced to flee, and finally she found shelter here in the stolen lands. Here she hoped to sprout the seeds of a new dream, even as she mourned the dream she'd lost. But then the magic mist appeared, killing everything that lived. And the nymph cast about, desperately searching for help. So far, these are the fairy tale's final words. But I hope this is not the end just yet.
She spoke a lot and said little. For what little she said, I liked none. What sort of powers? And where's this monster now?
One day, perhaps I will tell you more. But it doesn't matter now. We need to concentrate on the problems at our doorstep. The Stag Lord, the Druid, the Mist.
It was an amateur mistake to ask her another question this early. What comes next?
Search the area around the hut. Try to find anything that remained of the Druid who lived here.
After some digging, we found notes pointing to a temple of some sort. The nymph identified it as the Temple of the Elk, our next destination. She gave some sappy goodbyes with her melancholic sing-song voice, then disappeared into the wind. It was time to go home. Returning to Oleg's, it seems that my gambit has paid off. The slave stuck around agreeing to join me. Unfortunately, it also seems Octavia is the type who thinks she can just bend people by fluttering her eyelids. Well, I decided not to shatter her delusions early. With my new companions in tow, we set out for the Temple of the Elk. The nymph is there of course already, warning us of beasts prowling the area. We found the biggest one tearing into a man. Using it as a distraction, we caught it off guard.
I swear, never have I been so glad to meet a stranger. Even with the power granted me by Sarenrae, I almost lost. You have my thanks. Please, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tristian.
He claimed to investigate the fog. A little digging around revealed no other bodies or footprints, lending credit to his words. A man taking part of a contest for a barony cannot be too careful of rivals after all. I told her of the nymph's plan, and he agreed on its validity. Finding no more beasts to slay, it was time to go home.